The Minister says yesterday's verdict doesn't in any way justify the demolition of the Babri Mosque. The Waqf Board says it'll appeal to the Supreme Court. Praise for the verdict from some top constitutional experts, criticism from others.
I think this judgment shows judicial courage.
Unfortunately, it is something that is just coddled up in a panchayati sort of strain.
Tempers flare at Mohali in the first India-Australia test, a war of words between Zahir and Ponting when the latter is run out. The Supreme Court stays the Madras High Court order on the closure of Sterlite's copper smelting plant in Tuticorin. The 4 policemen kidnapped on the 19th of September in Chhattisgarh have been released after mediation by activists. What the government failed to do in a year, the army does in a few days. The new foot-over bridge is handed over ahead of the games. And Bindra, along with Saina, Sushil and Vijendra, will be the torchbearers for the last lap of the Queen's Baton Relay as the games open in Delhi. Our top story. A day after the Ayodhya verdict, the Home Minister P. Chidambaram has categorically stated that the judgment in no way justifies the demolition of the Babri Mosque in December 1992, which remains a criminal act. Chidambaram was responding to a question on whether yesterday's verdict weakens the mosque demolition case. As per the verdict, the disputed land will be split 3 ways. 2 parts, including the area under the central dome, goes to the Hindu community, while 1 part goes to Muslims.
In a sense, this judgment, does it weaken the case of the Babri Masjid demolition? So there is a feeling among some quarters that the 1992 6 December case against those who demolished the Babri Masjid or brought down the Babri Masjid, does this judgment weaken the case against those people?
No, no. This judgment has nothing to do with the act that took place on 6th of December 1992. That, as found by the Liburhan Commission, was completely unacceptable. It was an act done by people who took the law into their own hands. This judgment in no way justifies the demolition of the Babri Masjid Mosque. That remains, in my view, a criminal act. Following the judgment, and after a meeting of the Cabinet Committee on Security, the Prime Minister made a statement pointing out that, quote, "The correct conclusion at this stage is that the status quo will be maintained until the cases are taken up by the Supreme Court," unquote. The Prime Minister also appealed to the people of India to maintain peace and tranquility. Government is pleased and satisfied that the response of the people of India to the judgment has been, echoing the Prime Minister's words, quote, "respectful and dignified," unquote.
Well, as the country absorbs the historic Ayodhya verdict, the Congress and the BJP have called for reconciliation. Speaking to our group editor Barkhad Dutt, the senior Congress leader Digvijay Singh said bringing the 2 groups together is the need of the hour, while the BJP's Ravi Prasad, who also represented one of the parties in the Ayodhya case, said a mature response would be to let the Hindus build a temple at the Ram Janambhoomi.
Digvijay Singh, but when the BJP, for example, and we've got Prakash Javadekar with us, uses the judgment to say that now it must pave the way for a grand mandir, how should we read that? One way of looking at it is, so be it. Mandir, masjid, dono wahi banaiye, and that is what this country wants and needs, and it wants to move on. Another way of looking at it, as several of our panelists have said, is that it is injustice for what happened on the 6th of December 1992.
If the temple is to be constructed, then a mosque has to be constructed also. But what I feel is, let us not create a situation which may escalate and whip up communal passions. What is more important is for this country to bring about the 2 factions together, and I think the Congress party and the UPA government would be very happy to bring about some kind of a reconciliation, which is the need of the hour, and this is the public mood of this country.
One last question to you, Digvijay Singh. This case is going to the Supreme Court, as Owaisi Saab just said. There it could sit there for decades. Do you believe that we should allow the legal process to complete itself, or do you believe that your party, your government maybe, could show a political initiative and bring together all of the groups for a negotiated settlement at this point, which takes a cue from this judgment and builds both a temple and a mosque at this site?
Well, the legal process cannot be stopped. It is the right of the contesting parties to go into appeal, either of them. But that doesn't stop us and for all other parties and all other contesting parties to initiate the proceedings of reconciliation.
What is the big message that you take away, Ravi, from this judgment?
Ram was a revered, pious figure for the Hindus. Muslims never questioned. Ram was born in Ayodhya, they never question. Ayodhya is sacred for Hindus, they never question. What the question was that this is not the place where the Hindus believe that he was born. Issue 14, issue 22, issue 19 has been decided clearly by a majority that this is the place where Ram was born, which Hindu believe for the last thousands of years. This is a concept of a deity exclusive to Hindus, which I had argued. It has been accepted. Now, you may recall Barkha in the white paper after the Singh Rao government and the Farooqi judgment also, they had said if it is proved this is the place of birth of Lord Ram, we will willingly forego our claim. And today when there is a judicial determination, what I said there in Lucknow immediately thereafter, I am appealing to your channel. You are saying India has moved, and I am appealing to the new India. Please accept this verdict with all humility. You have got the right to go in appeal. But if you help the Hindus willingly to construct a temple at the Janmasthan, it will pave the way of a new resurgent India.
Top constitutional experts of the country, however, are divided on the verdict, while some, like former Attorney General Soli Sorabji, have praised it, saying the judgment showed courage. Others have criticized it.
Justice Khan, Shekhar, whose judgment you were talking to, and remember there are three judgments here, three written judgments, and it's a 2:1 judgment. Justice Khan says, here is a small piece of land where angels feared to tread. He then says, it is filled with innumerable landmines. We are required to clear these landmines. Some very sane elements advised us not to attempt that. We do not propose to rush in like fools lest we are blown. However, we have to take risks. It is said that the greatest risk in life is not daring to take a risk when the occasion for the same arises. Then he says, once angels were made to bow before man, sometimes he has to justify the said honor. This is one of those occasions. Have we succeeded or failed? No one can be a judge in his own case. This is Justice Khan. Soli Sorabji.
Absolutely, yeah. I completely endorse the sentiment. I think this judgment shows judicial courage, because very easy to judges to duck the issue. No evidence, conclusive evidence, but no. They did enter into this minefield, as I said, and they gave a judgment according to the understanding based on the facts and evidence. For example, in America, what happened when the Supreme Court gave the judgment striking down segregation educational institutions? Oh my God, the South were absolutely there, born as refugee. They knew that it would have repercussions, but judges have to perform the duty. They are not timorous souls.
You're essentially saying that the court has overreached, that it's proposed a compromise that was not even what the petitioners had asked for, that effectively, in your interpretation, the judges have ruled in favor of the Hindu groups and then proposed this as an act of generosity for the Muslim groups.
No. Barkha, let us be clear. I am not, in a sense, arguing just on what the judgment said. I am arguing as to what is the basis of this judgment to be acted upon as far as the future is concerned. Can we say this judgment, which orders a three-way split on the basis that one community is entirely wrong and the other case the community does not have a leg to stand on, can this in fact be a basis for acceptability for the future? It is a patchy job, unfortunately. It is something that is just coddled up in a panchayati sort of strain, and ultimately negotiations don't take place in a manner that has been inaugurated by this government.
All right, but the
by this judgment at all.
Well, let's move on now to some other news, and it is just the first day of the India-Australia series and in the first test, and we've already seen a sign that it's going to be one where the behaviour of cricketers comes into sharp focus. Ricky Ponting and Shane Watson helped Australia get a near perfect start with a 141-run stand before Suresh Raina ran out Ponting. But as Ponting was walking away after his 71, Zahir Khan made remarks that sparked off a verbal exchange. Ponting was even seen raising his bat at Zahir, who then raised his hand pointing at the pavilion. Umpire Billy Bowden had to intervene to defuse the situation. Meanwhile, Ishant Sharma suffered a knee injury and is in danger of being out of the test. Australia have lost 3 wickets for 195 runs. Rika Roy joins us now for more on this as we see more, once again, these pictures and what just happened. Rika, any word on any details on what provoked that rather unusual exchange?
Vishnu, we really don't know what kind of verbal exchanges took place, but it appeared to me that it was really unnecessary because Ponting was walking out and there was really no provocation until perhaps until the point when Zahir Khan probably told him something and Ponting walked back probably to ask, what did you say? And then there was that exchange and we saw Billy Bowden walking in to calm the nerves there. But it isn't really unusual when the contest is between India and Australia. We all know that, there have been instances of banters. Last time when Australians were down here, Gautam Gambhir elbowed Shane Watson. Then there was that famous spat between Harbhajan Singh and Andrew Simon. So there has been a long history of banter between India and Australia, and one can really expect such things to happen when these two sides take on each other.
And Rika, despite that incident, it's been a day of pretty absorbing cricket, but I'm told the scoring rate as test matches go these days hasn't been the quickest.
It has been a day of absorbing cricket. A little unlucky for India with Ishant Sharma being ruled out for the day. We don't know yet whether he's been ruled out for the match. He's picked up some sort of an injury in his knee and his knee has been strapped for the time being. But the spinners, especially Pragyan Ojha has bowled exceptionally well, though he hasn't picked up a wicket as yet. After Ricky Ponting's dismissal, the Indians have been able to keep the scoring rate under check. Shane Watson is on 82 right now, and though in the first session the Australians did get off to a brisk start, but in the last two they haven't been able